All right, this is Jason Banks. I'm with nVoq Incorporated. We're a speech recognition company. And today I have the good pleasure of interviewing Charles McDonough. Charles is the CEO of Interim Healthcare of the Upstate. He's been a longtime executive in the home health and hospice arena, and just so pleased to have him on board today. Charles and I have known each other for years. He has a BA focused on business administration and management from the University of Lynchburg, and a master's degree in health policy and administration from Penn State University. So thank you so much, Charles, for joining me today. And I wanted to give you a little fun fact, because this industry is all about relationships. And I know how important that is for you. It's also very, very important for me. We spoke about a good friend of ours, mutual friend Brian Thomas, who's hanging it up today, but he's made such a difference in people's lives in the industry over the years. There's another person who's made an impact on my life, and I wanted to let you know, and that's your father. And Russ McDonough. I want to tell a brief little story. Russ is also an executive in post-acute care and healthcare, and has been for many years. And as I was sort of cutting my teeth in home health and hospice, he would entertain my sales advances and visits. And at the time, I was traveling to visit him in Atlanta. He was one of the executives at Gentiva, and I'd go up to the top floor, and he would always take my meeting, and I have no idea why. He never, he's just such a good person. He would spend time educating me on certain facets of home health and hospice. He would also spend time bragging about his family quite a bit, including you. And then he would spend the remainder of the time trying to convince me why Alabama was the best school in the nation, and that I should become an Alabama fan. So while he didn't succeed at the last part, I always valued the conversations that I had with him and with you, and such a pleasure for you to take time out to be with me today.
Happy to do it, Jason. It's an honor.
So Charles, tell me about the continuum of care that Interim of the Upstate provides, and the overall geography that your team serves.
Yeah, absolutely. So the continuum of care that we provide here at Interim in the Upstate is not unlike some organizations across the country, but we feel that the individual spin that we put on our patients and the way we do it makes us unique. So, currently we offer the full barrage of post-continuum services: home health, hospice, private duty, and we have a little contingent of staffing services in there, really focused on taking care of the whole patient and, frankly, the whole employee. So when you hear me talk about continuum, I'm really not just speaking on the continuum of the services of the patient, but really just the continuum of our employees and the communities that we serve. Those communities entail the upstate of South Carolina, which is really, if you look at South Carolina and you look at Greenville, it's the surrounding 10 or 11 county area. But we've also recently just expanded into the Midlands, which covers the capital of South Carolina and the surrounding territories there. And we're excited about that expansion, because really what it does is it's our first banner approach of expanding across the entire state of South Carolina by the end of 2023. I've been very excited about being able to do that.
Awesome. And with that, I know the geography a little bit, but not super well. But I know there's both metropolitan areas and then very rural areas. One of the opportunities that we're seeing in post-acute care, home health, hospice, home care is around employee engagement. It's around retention. It's around attraction of new candidates. How have you seen this play out with your organization? And is this the number one opportunity in your mind as a post-acute care leader?
Great question, Jason. It's absolutely been a priority in our minds, and arguably probably the number one issue that we're seeing across being able to take care of patients and continuing to be able to service the communities we live in. Most recently, it was announced that South Carolina has the largest nursing deficit, fourth largest nursing deficit in the country, and we feel it every day. I mean, normally when we've been able to submit and be able to, acquire a nurse or bring them on board, aides, therapists, alike. I mean, it has been monumental barriers in being able to provide care, and everybody's feeling it and seeing it. So we've made a conscious effort, um, frankly, to make sure that we make it the number one thing that we're focusing on. So recruitment and retention is absolutely number one, focusing on how we enrich our employees' lives, drive the culture. And at the end of the day, make sure that our employees, if they do decide to leave us, they are better than where they started. But at the core of everything that we do, it's really to honor our mission statement, right? And honoring God through the enrichment of human lives. We take that to heart for everybody, but most importantly, our employees.
I love it. And are there some unique initiatives that you're employing or looking at to better align with retaining your amazing team members or attracting new ones to your family?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we've done a good job with our culture, and employment and retention over the course of the 42 years history of our business here in South Carolina. But in order to maintain our 5-year top workplace recognition, frankly, for the next 50, right? So we've been done a great job at the last 5. We want to make sure we're doing it for the next 50. Anything's on the table, right? Most organizations, um, frankly, continue to focus on how can they provide education benefits and, looking at those items. And, we see a lot of industry, locations focusing on sign-on bonuses and, just trying to wave the dollar in front of people. And I think it's going to be more than that, Jason. So, for example, we're currently looking at Ramsey Smart Dollar. Going to make that a benefit offering to our employees, for the 2022 season, so where we can give everybody the Dave Ramsey plan. It's just as a benefit of being employed, right? How can we enrich an individual at home financially? Like, how can we give them a financial plan? So, financial advice, financial planning, the way to pay down debt, enrich their lives in a personal way beyond just having a core offering as an organization. We're looking at fleet programs so we can make the cost of reliable transportation easier on our hospice and home care aides and personal aid and attendants, to where at the end of the day, they don't have to worry about trying to take out a loan to find a vehicle. We can help them with that. And really investing in on-job training, right? We've recently aligned ourselves with a couple of different technology vendors to really make the ease of use of our platform and our delivery system, industry best, but make it easy to use, right? If somebody's got to stress about coming to work and how to use the tool, I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to retain them very long. So, there's a big focus on enriching the employee's personal life in a big way, but also making us an easier employer to work for, in addition to being one of the most exciting and long running in our community.
I love that. I love the fact that you're looking at the holistic individual that's choosing to join your team, both inside and outside of the work that they absolutely are great at and love doing, to give them, continued support, both, like you said, inside and outside of their work hours. And, we're working as a family on the Ramsey plan and snowballing ourselves, and we're doing a good job. We have setbacks here and there, but what I tell you, that financial peace of mind is such a wonderful gift, and so that is really, really awesome. Um, how do you? I know you mentioned all the different facets of the continuum of care that you support and the geography that you support. I'm wondering how you see new models like hospital at home, SNF at home, ER diversion, new payer models impacting your staffing. I know you also run a staffing organization. So how does that all play out?
Well, I think we'll wait and see to a certain extent, right? I mean, that's the one thing about innovation, is that the innovation always outpaces what regulatory reform and the financial models will dictate. But if I can agree on and double down on one thing, it's that care is moving home, right? So I gave a presentation with one of my associates at MedBridge back at the NOC Financial Conference, talking about something very similar. And at the end of the day, consumerism is the biggest thing that we see, and being able to be adaptive and dynamic is going to be crucial, right? So if you think about Blockbuster, right, you used to have to go to a store to rent a video, right? That has absolutely been transformative across our industry, right? You don't, I can go to Netflix and, videos for everywhere pop up. I haven't stepped into a bank in almost 2 years unless I absolutely have had to. I mean, we moved from Pennsylvania to South Carolina. Jason, I never walked into the bank for any of the paperwork associated with it, right? All DocuSign or one of these digital platforms. So healthcare doesn't really have to be any different. So when we think about, the hospital at home programs, was a part of standing one of those up at my prior employer. And we're participating in one down here with a local health system in the upstate. But I truly believe that the Choose Home Care Act of 2021 is going to be the most transformative thing that has hit our industry since Medicare was enacted back in the 60s, right? It's going to require us to think differently in the eyes of the health delivery partner. And ultimately, it's going to force us to be patient-centered, right? And we've talked about it, but imagine a patient doesn't want to go to the SNF, they want to go home. They're not going to have a platform where they can do that, and it's going to be the expectation. Not because the SNF wanted you to, not because the referral partner wanted you to, but the patient chose. And I firmly believe that as we can get on the front end of this, it's going to make a dynamic shift of, I had to go to a facility to receive healthcare. And look, in some instances, you absolutely should, Jason. You should absolutely go to a hospital to receive certain care. You should absolutely go to a skilled nursing facility to receive some of these long-term care services, because clinically it's the safest thing for you to do. But if a patient chooses to go home, there needs to be an alternative model. And we've seen that in every industry. Really, I think in the past, evolution since the turn of the millennium, healthcare is not going to be any different, and we're going to have to adapt, right? So we're doubling down on technology services that make it easier for the clinician, telehealth, less typing, right? Trying to make sure that, we can be as innovative for both the clinician and for the patient as a part of that, making sure we can make this engaging ecosystem with everybody involved. And look, at the end of the day, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to do business in the home, which is why you're seeing all these divergent payer models exist. Humana stepped into the space of acquiring 100% of Kindred at Home, okay, for that specific purpose. They know that they can drive a better model for the patient, and they're starting to branch out some of their payer relationships in those innovative models. So I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be a disruptor in the space. And those that aren't on the front end of this thing are going to get left behind. And we've just chosen to make it a part of our standard operating plan moving forward. We're going to be ready and willing, as much as I think other interims and other, post-acute organizations across the country are starting to figure that out as well.
Love it. No, I totally agree. I think that, for decades now, post-acute has been sort of, after an acute event, and now payer models are shifting, and home health is really being recognized as the primary or one of the preferred sources of chronic care disease management, to ER diversion, to very complex care in the home before an acute event occurs. So really, really cool stuff. Love have spent some time with you and your organization, and wish you nothing but the best. But thank you again for joining me today.
Again, Jason, as I said, it's my pleasure. We've been working together in various organizations and industries for a long time, and just happy to have a conversation with like-minded individuals about the innovation and the way the landscape is changing. So again, it was my pleasure.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you.